We're all set, Diane. Oh,
Thank you. If you could put the agenda up for everyone, that would be helpful, especially for me.
wait a second, Diane. Hold on 1 second, okay?
Yeah.
Yep. We're all set, Diane. I'm gonna hit this. Thank you. Now we're good.
Okay, so we're streaming. Are we recording?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome, everyone, to the monthly board meeting of the Lucy Robbins Wells Library Board, or Board of Trustees. It's Monday, March 14th. And I will ask Elizabeth Rogers, our secretary, to do the roll call for us. And if folks can remember to come off mute to give their attendance, that would be nice.
First is Andy Brecker. Anna Eddy.
Here.
Laurel Goodgen.
Here.
Lisa Jones, Diane told me would not be here. Pauline Crook.
Here.
Iris Larson. No.
I know Iris was trying to sign in earlier before the meeting went live, so let's give her a little bit. We'll look for her.
Leanne Mankey.
Here.
Maureen O'Connor Lyons.
Here.
Neil Ryan, you said is not here. Christine Shushin.
Here.
Diane Stam.
Here.
Fiona York.
Here.
Lisa Maston. I know she's here. And Karen Benner.
Sorry, we're both here. Sorry.
Sheila Rowell. I thought I saw Sheila. Is she not here?
She's here. She's on mute.
Okay, thank you. David Nagel.
Here.
And Sharon Braverman.
Sharon.
No. Okay. That concludes the roll.
Thank you. So public participation. Ladies or James, I'm not sure who's running it. Can you say anyone?
There's no public participation, Diane.
No one signed in for public participation. Thank you. Then we'll move on. And Town Council Liaison, Dave, you're here. Is there anything you'd like to impart at this time?
Sure. 4 things that happened at the council meeting or were discussed that you should be made aware of or aware of once again. The 150th anniversary committee is having a tag sale on June 11th. And I believe they've tried to contact the library staff that if you, or friends of the library, if you wish to have a book sale on that date, it'll be publicized widely beyond whatever's you do on your own. And I believe they have all the information about that. So that is now more of a definite thing that will happen on the 11th. Reminder once again that the segment of the town budget, the town council will be going over this Saturday. The segment that includes the library will be going over it this Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon. The library is listed in the center of all the different segments. It begins with CIP, and that usually takes a little bit longer. I can't tell you when it will come up. There were some problems, as happens with technology, at the last council meeting, trying to go hybrid and so on. And I know you may be aware of those things too. And they're trying to be corrected. It is a virtual as well as a Zoom meeting. So the public is welcome to attend if they choose to. And as of course are counselors, but those that can or wish not to attend can do it via Zoom. There are no masks required, at least at that time. I've heard about. I've heard nothing different since then, and we are still on yellow in terms of COVID, which is good. We want to get to gray. Let's see, what else? Also having to do with opening of the library, voting districts. as you know, have been changed because of state requirements, and a little tweaking has been done by the town. All 7 districts remain open for voters. Information will go out through various different sources time and again for those voters who are voting in a different location than the one they have voted to before. And I'm sure the library is going to get information about that to help with distributing those kinds of things. Another thing in terms of the library, it means that town hall will be a voting place on voting day. Just if you need to know that for library things. Leanne Mankey brought to my attention just prior to the meeting that the document having to do with the facilities committee that's being created inadvertently left out an agreement that was made with the library in terms of differences, because you are owners, Princeton Library are owners of the building, and that segment that was eliminated was not included. Was an oversight according to the town clerk, and will be included. It was discussed during the meeting as well, and so the agreement will be reached. So we'll be double, triple aware that that is included whenever that document comes up for a vote. So there's no misunderstanding about the differences between the library and asking for a referendum and building as opposed to other building things that may come up in the future. And I believe those are all things that are directly or indirectly related to the library. Of course, if you have any other questions, I'll gladly answer them.
Dave, where
Yes.
is the tag sale being held?
It's a town-wide tag sale. So
Oh, so when,
individuals may have it in their houses
okay.
everywhere throughout town. The police department has given an exemption, so they know this is happening on the 11th. Parks and Rec is having some events in Mill Pond Park, so it's on that street. So there may be tag sales going on in the vicinity of the library as well. So it's for everyone who wishes to be part of it, and it will be publicized town-wide. I'm not quite certain whether the Chamber of Commerce has been brought on board to do that or not, but that way and through other sources. And obviously, if the library wishes to be part of it, they will be included in the information that goes out to everyone in town.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that's a Saturday.
Yes. June 11th.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for Dave? No. Has Iris been able to join?
I saw her come on.
She's here, Diane.
Great. Secretary's report, Iris Larson. Iris, are you on mute?
Yep. Still muted.
Iris, if you do *6, you can unmute yourself if you're on your phone. Okay, she's unmuted, Diane.
Go ahead, Iris, Secretary's report. Iris? Okay, at this point,
Live, Diane. She is unmuted. I'm not sure what's going on.
okay, so technical difficulties, we'll put it down to Iris. If you can speak later, we'll come back to you. But at this point, I'm going to move on to the next item on the agenda. And that would be the approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to read through the minutes? Are there any corrections or clarifications?
I have 2 that I saw. This is Pauline Crook.
Thank you, Pauline.
Page 6, the motion for Andy Brecker. Diane Stam asked what kind of BAD it is. I'm assuming it's badge, BADGE. And on page 7, open board positions, I would assume the Republicans would like the R capitalized. Other than that, I didn't see anything major.
I have one.
Okay,
Thank you,
Page,
Laurel.
page 6, under communication, line 3, the contact for the current. It's not like a Barry, it's Hartford Current, it should be. COURANT, not CURRANT. Third line of section H. You see that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Anybody else? No? Thank you. Then I would ask for a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
They'll move.
Thank you, Laurel.
This is
second,
Maureen, second.
Thank you. Thank you, Maureen, for calling your name. I would ask folks to speak your name. Elizabeth is still relatively new with us, and I'm sure she's kind of more heads down, trying to capture the minutes rather than watching the green or the yellow lights on the phone. So if you can always state your name before you ask a question or make a motion, I would appreciate that. So I've had the motion it made and seconded. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
This is
Any
Anna. I'm
abstention?
abstaining because I wasn't there.
Thank you, Anna. Anna abstains. So the motion passes to accept the minutes as amended. We'll move on. I'm sorry, I'm hampered. I don't have a printout of the agenda in front of me. So we'll review the annual activities and what's on the calendar at this time. We just talked about the budget from Dave, and we know that Saturday is when the town council will be discussing the budget. The director's evaluation, Lisa Jones did send out that form. If you guys could take a look at it and then respond, that would be good. We had our 5K race, and one of the things that was on the agenda or on the activities calendar that I think we should think about again as our colors turn to yellow and then hopefully gray is maybe some kind of an outdoor Hanel event or some kind of a Hanel event coming up at some point. We had obviously needed to postpone them when we went in, when the world kind of went into lockdown, but maybe as we move forward here with the different viruses, we can start to look at performers and things that you have seen or think would make sense for this. Fiona in the past, and I'm just calling you out because it's relatively new. We've done all sorts of things from having speakers to having musicians. We had the CT, was it CT improv company? I'm sorry?
That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
So that was fun. So different things like that, anything that you can think of for folks that we can approach. George C. Hanel did put aside an awful lot of money for cultural events for the library to put on. And it would be nice if we can get back to that. So if we have a couple of ideas in the hopper, that would be good. My thought is maybe something that we can do outdoors so that we're not so hampered by, you know, whatever COVID state we're in, but realizing that we might have to cancel if the numbers get bad again. So go ahead.
Diane, this is Fiona. Can I ask a question about that?
Yes.
What's the time frame? Is that something that typically happens a specific time of year, or is it kind of open?
So it's open. Normally, in a normal year, we would try to have 2 events in a year, and that's really what the monies were set up for. And the outline for that was 2 episodes a year. For our 80th anniversary, we had 8 in 1 year. They were a lot of fun and they were a lot of work. So when the 90th comes, we're not doing 9. Just saying. But so normally our goal is to hold 2 a year. depending on the year or the people that are available or the schedules that are available, that can determine if it's an indoor and outdoor activity. So,
And Diane, noteworthy, we typically did them during off-peak hours where the library doors were theoretically shut for normal business.
right. So for a while, we were doing them on either Friday nights or Sundays when we were not open on Sundays. We do have our Sunday hours back, which is nice. And the reason we did it that way is because the movable furniture in the middle under the atrium would have to be moved, all those stacks and stuff to accommodate folks. Otherwise, we were limited to 40 or 60 people in the community room because there is no other facility in town that we can really use. When the schools are in session, the school auditoriums are being used by the school and there's no auditorium left in the town hall.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Leanne, did you still have a comment?
No, I just was wondering, you know, when COVID hit, we had a couple things in the hopper. I wonder if it's worth going back to those individuals
Right,
canceled.
yeah. We had collected a lot of information during that anniversary year, Diane.
Mhm.
And we had a couple of people lined up for various things and obviously when the world shut down, that stopped too. Maybe it might be worth going back to some of those or at least exploring those possibilities.
I think it would be. So do I have volunteers for that?
Well, I've got that contact information.
Okay.
Between myself and Karen, we were doing the legwork. So I'll talk to Karen.
Okay, and maybe publicize some of that information if we need other volunteers to reach out.
Yep.
So that's what's on the annual activities and calendar assignments for now. I just wanted to think about starting up with Hanel again. And from there, we'll go to the treasurer's report with Leanne Mankey.
Sent it out, I don't know, a week and a half ago. I don't know if anybody has any questions. We're in really good shape right now with the current working funds. We've had, as I mentioned in the race committee, a lot of the race sponsors have already submitted their information. I do encourage trustees, that's where we're actually lacking in terms of our trustee donations, if you are planning on contributing. Expenses have been relatively low. That'll pick up as we approach the race. But again, the race income is starting to filter, and we had our first online registration come in last week. So that is starting to pick up. With that in mind, I don't necessarily want to take funds from our checking account and move it into the investments account with Kingston. But what I would suggest is, even though it's a very limited amount of money, that we put some of the excess that is in the checking, perhaps in the money market that is currently at Santander, just so we have at least a limited amount of earnings for interest, because right now the checking doesn't have that. So, I mean, it's not huge amounts of money, but it is earning actually more in the money market at Santander than we are with the money market at Kingston, because of the timing of when they were established. So it's just a place to put it. It's up to you if you want to move it. It's all within the same bank. Also under the investments, obviously we took a hit in the market, as did a lot of people. So the restricted and unrestricted funds, I've been working with those and talking to various folks so that we can get a clean picture of what is covered by the various funds, so that we're utilizing our monies to their best potential. Obviously, some of them have restrictions such Hanels and whatever, but we do have other funds that can be accessed and be utilized, and helping Lucy be her best. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice here. I am looking at the different banking options, but I am in no real hurry because we still have product deposits and checks and what have you. I've pretty much come down to American Savings and Liberty Bank being the two, not American Savings. Oh, it shows you how old I am. TD Bank Liberty Mutual or Liberty Bank as to the two possibilities, but that probably won't happen until this summer because we have plenty of checks and deposit slips to last us till that point, and we have to purchase whatever we go into. So I would rather use what we have before we make that expenditure, which is probably going to be in the range of about $600 or $700 when we buy new stamps for the checking, et cetera, new books, the whole thing. Scott Hoagland has our laptop right now. We are doing an upgrade in terms of our speed and memory. And it's going on the board visa for the equipment, and I will update you as soon as we have it back, but that will be huge in terms of our speed. He said it was more than it was worth saving, not buying a new laptop, but upgrading the speed and the memory. So we will be in better shape there. And once I get it back, currently I'm running all the books manually for the last few weeks, but it's not difficult to upgrade. And I think that's about it.
Thank you. It's nice to know that the improvements we voted on a while back will actually come to fruition, that the timing's worked out. So that's nice. Does anybody have questions for Leanne? No? All right, then we'll move on to the library director's report with Lisa Maston. Lisa?
Hi, everyone. So now that we're in the yellow level, we're starting to add most of our seating back. We've opened the study rooms again. People do not have to wear masks when they come into the library. We are gradually opening meeting rooms. We're not quite there yet. We also, I think, we're emptying out the rooms because a lot of them were used as storage during the whole pandemic. So that will be coming sooner than later, although I'm not going to go hog wild with the rooms, because the other thing is we're closed an hour earlier than we were 2 years ago. So, but we are, getting to that point where we can open up the meeting rooms. We are waiting to figure out the programming for the library for April, May, and then into the summer, because the library gets first dibs on like the community room, things like that. When we do go, we are planning on doing some in-person programming sooner. It will be small programs. There will be some children's story times, book discussions. There's a Redefine Reads that's going to be done, that kind of thing. So we're starting to get back in that mode, but I'm not overly comfortable having a lot of people in one small space as of right now. Let's see, we're going to be getting new shelving in the teen area this week. It's arriving on Thursday. It will give them more space. So that is something that will be happening soon. We got a mandate from the facilities director to clean out our mechanical rooms. So that's what we're working on as well. And it's a little bit challenging because we've used part of some of the rooms for storage. So now we have to find space for the stuff that's in those rooms. We are doing a big clean out as we can, but that's something that's going to be ongoing for a little bit. We just found out we're going to be doing another live virtual author visit. Stuart Onan is going to be speaking. We're doing it with multiple libraries. We're working with Jeanette at her library because she has a relationship with Stuart Onan. So we're going to be reading his new book, The Ocean. I forget what I'm sorry. I forget. It's The Ocean something. I'm sorry. But anyway, he's going to speak about his book. We're going to do a book discussion. We're going to be able to sell autographed copies. And we're hoping to get a really decent turnout for him. It's going to be a virtual visit though. So that's something that's kind of exciting. And he's not charging us, which is even better. He wants a tchotchke from the library, so I can do that. I can handle that one.
When is that, Lisa?
It's going to be June 16th. June 16th.
Lisa, it's
So-
Fiona. I just looked up the book. It's Ocean State.
Thank you very much. Yep. So it looks like it's set in Rhode Island, Diane, I think.
Well,
so.
Rhode Island is known as the Ocean State.
Well, I know that, but I thought you might be interested that his book is the story set in.
About Diane.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I have is that I know that Sheila's going to talk about the Friends fundraiser that went exceptionally well. And if you go on our website, under the Friends, if you click on the I Love Lucy link, there is like a slide presentation of some of the comments that were made from all of the people that filled out the comment sheets. So people could buy a heart at any denomination and they could fill out a comment. So if you want to see what some of our patrons have said, some of the comments are just really, they're quite lovely and they make you feel good. That people appreciate the library for many different reasons. And then winter reading is actually wound down today. Today's the last day for teen and children's, and adults finished last Friday. Adults had over 300 people participate, which I was pretty pleased with. And then the children's and the teens, they wrap up today, actually. Today's the last day for that. So the theme this year was Get Smitten with Books. And our summer reading theme, in case you're wondering, because we already have the dates for that, is Ocean of Possibilities. And I think that's it. That's all I have.
Lisa, this is Maureen. The shortened hours, is that something that's going to stay in place?
For
The
now,
earlier
it is.
closing?
Yeah, we'll eventually do that. We're just trying to get, being down a couple people has kind of been a little bit of a crunch, but I'm sure
Yeah.
that as we go on into the summer and get into the fall, we'll start expanding again. But right now, we're staying at 8 o'clock.
Okay, thank
And
you.
we are the interesting thing is, like, we've been open on Saturdays for a while, and some libraries are just starting to open up on Saturdays. And I will also just add that people love the Sunday hours. A lot of positive comments.
Speaking of comments, the fundraiser from the Friends, the I Love Lucy, is that something that Leslie Berger is aware of?
I can send her the link. I will send her the link. I did send her some other information, but I'm happy to do that, Maureen.
Thank you, because I would think it would be important information. Especially, she talks about outreach, like focus groups, and I'm not a huge fan of focus groups, but I think something like this would be a great substitute,
And I have the full box full of all the comments, so I do have those right now.
I agree. I actually saw one of the comments that was commenting about how it very much it was talking not just about programs and staffing, was talking about the old building facade and how much they were grateful that it was still maintained. So, I mean, those are the kind of things that someone who's putting together, the information Leslie's doing, that they should have that feedback.
I'm all set, Diane.
Thank you. Any other questions for Lisa? No? Then we'll move on to the Assistant Director's report with Karen Benner.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Our digital services librarian has just completed her 3rd month in her position. So I guess we can say she's not brand new anymore. Things are going well. I'm stepping a little bit away from that as she's gotten her feet wet and is doing well. However, our circulation supervisor is now out on maternity leave. Actually, today is her first day out. So we will be covering that desk quite a bit more than we have been. I had talked about, I think, the calendar, our SpringShare, our calendar management system, the new software system. So that is now up and running. You can register online through the website for programs if you wish. People are still calling the library as well if they prefer that, but there's a button down at the bottom of our homepage, or you can go under adult events and there is a button there that just says register for programs or register for events. So patrons are really liking that, and we're happy about that because we've wanted that for a while. So that's a nice, something additional that we have not been able to provide to patrons, prior to now. The Page Turner's book discussion group, the evening book discussion group, we are having an author, Matthew Dix. It's April 7th, so it's Thursday evening, April 7th. He's going to be here speaking about his book, Memoirs of an Imaginary Friend. He has been at the library before. I don't know if any of you have seen him. He's a wonderfully engaging speaker. This is one of those small programs that Lisa was talking about. We will be using the community room. Probably the limit will be somewhere around 25 people. We're not going to have any more than that. So if you have any interest, please register online or call the reference desk. And then just to end, we are still doing collaborative programming. Michelle Royer has done a really good job working with area libraries, and we've been collaborating and it's been great. We've had really good attendance numbers. These programs are pretty much all of them free to us. It's just, I think we're all of the libraries are really pleased with this. So I don't know, how much longer we will be doing it, if we, are moving towards more in-person programming, but while we're virtual and as we continue to offer maybe some limited virtual programming, with the in-person programming, we may continue to work with them, but it's been great. And that's it for me.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Does anybody have any questions for Karen? No, then I will move on to the Friends report with Sheila Rowe.
Good evening. Have actually a lot of good things to try to report tonight. The I Love Lucy that Lisa spoke about, it ended up earning about $3,300 over the course of the month.
Wow.
And it was a real joy, as she said, it was a real joy doing it, seeing what people wrote and seeing how much they enjoyed the fact that we were even doing it and had something up there, everybody talking to everybody. Trying to solve a problem that we've had for quite a while. We have tentatively, or I think it's a little more than tentatively, arranged to have the container that's out in the yard that is kind of an eyesore, replaced with a shed, which should be coming in mid-May. So everyone's, kind of looking forward to that. We do have a book sale that's planned for April 30th, May 1st in the senior center. And we're starting to get plans together so we can facilitate that. We're going to have it a little bit less than usual because we have a little bit less volume, but we're still taking donations. So it will be just a Saturday and Sunday with, a dealer time in the morning, Saturday morning. What else we're doing? We're trying to get everything ready for the new shed. So there's a lot of this site preparation and moving of sprinkler systems and stuff that has to go on too, that Lisa has been helping and working with the town to make that happen. And it all seems to be going very well. And what else? We have our software, which I am a neophyte at and I know nothing about. We've been using for quite a while for membership and stuff, called Wild Apricots. Mike Kiley has a returning gentleman who came back to the Friends, has done some work with that and facilitated a lot of the options that are on that we did not know and we were not using. So that's become a lot more functional, and will hopefully make all the memberships issues a lot smoother, and getting the notices out to people. I think that's all we did.
Super.
That's a
So-
lot.
Yeah. When is the new shed due to arrive?
It's middle of May,
Okay.
and the container is going to be removed by their owner at no fee. So
That's nice. That's very nice. Okay, any questions for Sheila or the friends? No? All right, then we will move on to committee reports, budget.
Well, as Dave reported, the council is meeting on Saturday to discuss town budgets. I don't think there are any surprises, so it's just the status quo. We did as we were told. Any increase would be in, the salaries, the union contract that we have no control over, and Lisa and her staff have been most creative and diligent in moving things around so that it looks pretty good for us. So I don't think there are going to be any surprises. Lisa, should be smooth sailing.
Yes, it should be.
Okay. And that's it.
I just
Leanne,
want-
you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to confirm, and Dave, you could, and Lisa, perhaps you could answer this for me, that the proposed budget still maintains those two positions. They're still in there, but unfunded, right?
Yes, that's my understanding.
I just want to
Yes,
make sure
I've been
they're
trying
not
to get,
disappearing.
I've been trying to get answers further about those positions and have yet to be told exactly what the status is. Lisa probably knows better than I do at this point.
I just don't want to see them disappear into the, ether.
I haven't heard that at all.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Can we be working towards filling one of those positions, say mid-year, and then picking up the other one at the beginning of the next fiscal year? So there's a little hope there.
I mean, I've mentioned that, Laurel, but I asked if we could do that, if we could, January, potentially fill, especially the team position,
Yeah.
but I haven't had, I think part of it depends on what happens in the next, month or so, plus what happens, in the next 6 months, I guess, with economic development, things like that.
Well,
So we don't-
you've done a marvelous job, but the constant filling positions that have been vacated, then training the new person, then watching that person move up the ladder to another position and retraining again, it's very hard on you and the staff. And
I agree.
this- we need those positions filled. We need more stability.
Right, especially with the team position, I would say right now. That would be my concern. Or it is my concern, I should say.
This is Fiona. I just wanted to add into the support of that. I think especially ahead of summertime, having that position filled for the kids that, want to come to the library in the summer.
Right.
For, just socializing with their friends again too.
Right, no, I agree. And I know, like, in the fall, when you start doing school visits and stuff like that, trying to develop the relationships with the different students, especially that age group, 7th, 8th, and into high school, to have that person that they can recognize as the teen librarian is important.
Well, and just the whole load on the staff as the library continues to rev up, as the pandemic recedes.
Right.
we're not really in a position yet to know what that's like with those two positions missing.
No, I agree. I mean,
And
it was a choice. Yet I had to make a choice because they were entry-level
Yeah.
positions. Rather, fill those or fill supervisory. And I really needed the supervisory that could do multiple things rather than an
Yes.
entry level. So,
And Lisa, this is I would think, open dialogue between you and Keith.
yes, I mean, I did speak to him recently about it as well. Especially even if we could fill it, mid-year, something like that.
Thank you, Maureen. Dave, is it appropriate on Saturday? Would the public be able to comment on the proposed budget?
It's open, it's a meeting open to the public, and I assume at the beginning of the meeting, you may speak to, be it live or be it Zoom, any segment of the budget that's being presented that day.
So that's Saturday, the 19th?
This Saturday.
This Saturday, okay. So if anybody was interested in participating in that town council meeting, and if they wanted to respectfully speak to the town council and share our concerns, that, these positions are open, and we would love to see funding given to those positions, depending on how the overall budget goes, or, when it comes up, just that it is a cut that hurts. And anyone that would want to speak to that during public participation, I don't think it hurts at that point to let them know what's coming and what happens. I mean, obviously Lisa and Keith will speak, but it helps if the board also speaks. Okay.
What
And
time is that meeting? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
What time is that meeting, Dave?
9 to 12, and the library is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 7th up out of 14 segments. So it will not be within the first hour, I would think. I don't know.
Right,
Okay.
but public participation is at the beginning and the end? Or
At
is
the
it each
beginning and the
segment?
end, as far as I know, that's the way it has been.
Right, so if you were there at 9 o'clock, you could speak to the public participation.
Yes, that's my understanding.
Right, and then at the end, it's always hard to time the end, but if you wanted to bring that up, that would be good. That would be appreciated. I have other commitments on that day, so I will not be able to really watch it and speak. So if somebody else would call in, show up, do the support, again, always in a respectful manner, but just the idea that funding partway through the year would be helpful, what it means to the library, to the community. That would be good. All right. Anything else on budget? No? All right, next up is PEP with Laurel Goodgen. Oh, sorry.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Lisa Jones sent out the request for you to fill out the library director evaluation form, and she asked that you turn those in to her by March 25th.
Thank you. Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Any questions for Laurel? No? Okay. And Fiona, as a new person, if you just wanted to look at the form and see if it made sense to you and stuff, that would be great.
Will do. Thank you.
Investment with Neil Ryan. Neil's not with us this evening. He did send out his investment committee report. And I don't know if anybody has questions about that. We can get in touch with Neil at a later date to follow that through.
I could probably address some basics. So.
Or
If
Leanne
anybody
has
has
volunteered
questions.
to address some basics. Does anyone have questions at this point on investment? No? Okay. It's good that he had was able to send out that written report. Okay, so moving on to house. So I did send out a spreadsheet that was nicely highlighted for me on more recent things. And that spreadsheet that's sent out is the results of the walkthrough that we do once a year. And then as people start picking things off, it looks like staff and facilities have done a good job in working on some of the things that are on the list, some easy hits and also some long-term ones. There are some things on there for the board to consider. And now that the library is actually opening up again, I think we'll look at that. There's some upholstery, there's some window treatments, things like that, that we should look at as we go forward that would be paid for by the board, which is why the town is not doing that as that goes through. So we would have to evaluate and get some pricing and then bring that back to the board. The other thing, and I'll reach out to Caroline McLean about that, is, you know, as spring comes, it's important for us to make sure that we have our work orders in with the town and facility so that grounds, upkeeping, things like that are done. They did do a good job cleaning up just before the winter happened, but spring brings new issues. So something else to keep top of mind as we go forward. Didn't know if anybody had any questions or concerns about the house. I don't see any, so we'll move on.
I will say Dave sure has gotten a lot accomplished when you look at that list.
Dave is invaluable. He's very handy and really goes through that list and knocks off a lot of items, which is a great benefit to the library and the town, finances.
Very, very thrifty.
Okay, moving on. Facility and site with Maureen.
Hello, everybody. Okay, I sent out an update of the meeting that we had with LDS. Did you all get a chance to look at it? Essentially, we met with LDS, Leslie Berger, and the consulting architect that she's brought in, Andrew Berman, and one of his associates, a woman named Vinci. I thought the meeting was great. I mean, everybody, well, first of all, we're all on the same page as far as the need and the desire for expansion. And we gave Leslie and Andrew and Vinci an earful of what we need. I mean, we already have the original feasibility study that was done. This is, they're going to be doing an enhancement of it. It's, the term reimagining the library was used frequently. And I don't think there was a stone that was left unturned as far as what's needed, there's certainly some wants, but it's mostly what's needed. And then I also included in that email a list that Andy Brecker put together. And it's quite an interesting list. I mean, it has all the necessary items in there that one wants to see or that we've already discussed in a feasibility study for an expansion. And then there's some wonderful out of the box items too, like a telescope on the roof, but but he's thinking, and I think that there's a lot of fodder in there for both Leslie and her team, and for us to think about. Lisa mentioned in her report about clearing the mechanical room, for instance. I mean, I remember, I didn't go on this past walkthrough, but I remember the last one I did. I thought that room was pristine in the sense that it had always, been more cluttered with stuff, but I guess it's still got stuff. And certainly we know the areas where the friends have their supplies and where they work to get books. It's not pretty. And, the time has come for us to really lobby again. And I realize that the town council is in the process of, deciding on this new building committee, which would cover, instead of having an individual committee for each building project in town, this would be encompassing. In the meantime, though, it doesn't exist yet. And one of the things that Andy has requested and is really pushing, and I don't disagree with him, is that we reconvene the existing library renovation committee meeting, so a group. So this is something I would have to get in touch. Come in. I would have to get in touch with Newell. He is out of state at the moment, but it would be up to Newell to call the meeting in concert with the town management. So I think we're on the right track. There's an aggressive schedule. The hope is that we could get something together for a referendum in November. Very aggressive. But Leslie and her team have agreed to give us something for that, with that date in mind. Does anybody have any questions?
Question. Anna,
Go ahead,
I-
Anna.
was there a formal vote taken on hiring LDS?
So I believe earlier there was a vote on approaching them and looking at these. The town CIP budget is actually paying for this. So I have to go back and check which months, but we did
Yeah,
formally
we
vote
did discuss it.
to go back to LDS and update the plans.
Okay.
I thought Leanne made a lot of very good comments at the meeting with the architect and with Leslie. She had very substantial information based on her experience as well as her knowledge of the library. I thought that was very helpful to them.
Yeah, and that's another thing, and thank you for bringing that up, Laura. Lisa and Leanne met with Andrew and his associate and spent 2.5 hours in a library walkthrough. And I'm sure he got to see all of the wonderful things and the blemishes. So he has a lot of information with which to work.
Is that Andrews? Is he somebody new to the team? Did you work with him before?
No, he's somebody that Leslie works with as a consulting architect and has worked on a lot of projects, in concert with her. He would
Library
be the one,
projects?
pardon me, library,
Library projects?
yes, yep. And his task in this particular situation would be the development of a building plan.
Conceptual drawings,
Pardon me?
conceptual drawings. They wouldn't
Ri-
be the actual.
Right, not the architectural. He's not our architect, but they would be
Right.
conceptual, absolutely.
So these conceptual drawings, if we have them before the race, is that something that we want to showcase at the race?
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe I spoke too soon. I mean, this is kind of premature.
Yeah, I think the
think.
problem with showing something like that to the public is then they have this vision of what it's going to look like, and it's not at all attached to concrete information at this point.
Right. So this is Diane. The object of having the architect involved is that Leslie Berger with the library development is going to talk about the needs of the library, what services we need to provide to the community. And Andrew is going to take those needs and try to fit them into available space. So meaning available space, meaning the property where the library is today and the adjoining lots that the library owns. So if based on what we come up with for our needs, then how do we plan that out? Where and when do we get space? So it's really more of a conceptual drawing for us to determine what happens. You know, do we go out? Do we go up? Do we go out and up? What happens? And what does that give us in terms of what can be there? I don't know if that helps or not. It's not.
Well, I would hope it would also begin to give us some rough estimate of how much money we're talking about.
Absolutely. When you get through that and you know what you can do. And I think
Right.
I think it was going to be kind of two different renderings. I'm not quite sure. I'm sure discussions with him post walkthrough would be, you know, he'd be much more able to tell us what he's thinking and what's going on. But it's also based on what we feel the library needs, you know, in terms of program space, you know, space for staff. Obviously, space for storage. Sounds like we can't store things in mechanical rooms anymore, which is, you know, frowned upon, and I understand why. But, you know, all these little make-do things that we've been doing for years are getting, you know, cut down. So we need to know our needs and the possibilities. And between Leslie and the architect, I think that will give us a clearer picture of what we can actually support.
Lisa, do you have any comments from your time spent with him?
He was it was pretty interesting. He had some, I can't remember what he was asking. He was asking some pretty pointed questions about Leanne, you're gonna have to refresh. I mean, he wanted to know.
He wanted usage questions, and he was addressing a lot
Yeah.
to you on that, Lisa. He wanted to know about your timing and staff usage and space usage. I mean, his questions were very, I thought from a construction standpoint, I thought they were very pointed and very concise so that he understood, rather than just general concept of what we do as a library, but to actually how the staff was functioning, what could function better, what wasn't functioning. And it was
Right.
and a lot of it, obviously Lisa could respond to that because she's there to see it happen every day.
Right. And then we you know, we talked about the flow of, you know, how people enter the town hall. You know, is it necessary to have the entrance on the side of the building where it is now? Because, you know, because the parking lot's behind us now, does the entrance need to be where it is now, or should it be facing the parking lot? You know, things like that. And then when we took him around all the space, he got to see, you know, what the staff space was like, what the storage space was like, the mechanical rooms. You know, we took him everywhere. And then we walked around the property too, to show him the boundaries and what the front of the property looked like, you know, the side, the back, and things like that. But he just, I gave him the history of the library so he could understand a little bit about the history. And then I know he spent quite a bit of time taking pictures after he spoke with us. He was there, I would say, another good hour of walking around taking pictures and actually just looking at things.
Yeah, and he was interested not just in traffic flow inside the building, but traffic flow outside. When we were going outside, obviously some of the constraints are noise issues and safety issues, particularly at the front of the building or the back of the building, whatever you want to call it, 95 seater.
Yeah.
And I felt that he was very receptive to everything that we were talking about. And like I said, I felt the questions that were coming from him were very good. I think he walked away with a lot better understanding. And he also, Lisa provided him with the addition plans. He's going to copy those, so he's got that to work with. So.
Good.
I don't know. It was Vinci didn't come. Fatima came,
Oh.
another associate.
Okay.
Okay, good. Any other questions or thoughts for facilities and Maureen? Okay.
More to come. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Maureen. Moving on to fund development with Anna.
So I was away. I had good intentions to do things while I was away, but I didn't. So in the interim, I will update the flyers that are going to be coming due for the next footnotes mailing, and hopefully collectively we can exchange comments by email and do a vote at the next meeting as to what our selections are for the next two mailings and go from there.
Okay, Leah.
And I'm not sure if this falls under fund development, but it's the best spot I can find it. I was at the town council meeting last week, and it was referenced that the fire department had just received a grant that they had applied for, and they had utilized the town grant writer, Sandra Richmond, I believe her name is. And they apparently the grant writer was extremely helpful in them putting together a proposal, and they were successful in obtaining a $47,000 grant. Now, I know we have different things potentially on the table in terms of building and everything else, but if we are going to pursue things that are on a larger scale, whether it's part of this particular project that we've been discussing with facilities, or if it's something like the outdoor spaces that we were talking about, I would suggest that we don't discount that, and it really needs a driving force behind it. You have to write a grant. I'm not very good at that, but obviously if we have a grant writer that the town has provided, I think we should keep that in the back burner, that we need to facilitate, or I mean, we need to utilize that service. There are monies out there. You just have to know where to look and everything else. And hopefully that grant writer would be somebody who could assist us in that regard.
I see Dave's hand up.
She is available. The company's called Sonic. They're local, and she is available and was hired by the town to specifically aid any and all departments that wished to have her search for grants. So it's an open invitation if you wish to contact her and have her look for specific grants on anything, or just generalized, so that it's there without extra cost to the library.
Great, thanks, Dave. And I would imagine that she would need input from the board or staff to help fill out grant paperwork and go through that, or find the grants that would be applicable. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
But I would imagine that we would need a specific need. I mean, usually
Yes.
we go after grants, a specific
Yes.
need.
Well, as I said, I'm not saying that we have anything specific, but I don't want us to forget about that potential availability, particularly with having somebody's services who is good at doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So let me just put this out there. Last fall, last summer, when we were, looking for new sponsors, one of the ideas I had was to apply to that Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, that new community fund that's specific for each community. And Lisa had spotted it too, and that's where she got the money for. What'd you do, Lisa? The new computer tables or something? You had something really specific.
No, the hotspots.
The hotspots.
Right.
Yeah. So I backed off, and I haven't looked. It was on my calendar to check if the application schedule is open. The application window is open, and I didn't know if that's something that I could pursue, to see if they wanted to be a race sponsor or support us just because it's our 25th anniversary of the race, or if Lisa has something additional in mind for this year.
That's for something we're working on too. I think they want something very specific too. Yeah. But I think it's opening up soon, Anna, but We were looking at it too. We just haven't come up with what we were gonna apply for, but I can talk to you before we do anything.
That's fine. I'll back off. I just, I don't want to. I just don't want,
Leave
want to
money
go,
on the table.
yeah, I don't want to go looking for money from the same source that Lisa's trying to track down.
Okay.
I have a question born of ignorance because I'm not terribly conversant in grants or grant applications. Dave, this grant advisor, consultant, whatever that the town has, I understand that she would help us prepare a grant proposal, but did you also mention that she would help us search for grant opportunities?
Yes. Briefly, yes.
Okay. So
You
maybe
need to
that's
ask her
something.
what you're looking for and generally or specifically, and she will, that's her job to do that.
Okay.
So we should reach out to her, whether that's going to be Anna or Lisa or somebody else on the board.
But maybe even if it's a general inquiry as to say, give us some guidelines, what do you need from us? And we want to find out what's out there, because obviously, I mean, Anna and Lisa are aware of this one grant opportunity that's a possibility, but there must be more out there that perhaps we are not unaware of.
Right.
Oh,
Or we
especially
are
with,
not aware of, I should say.
especially with the possibility of a new building going up. There might be funds out there, that people would love to give us if, one of those artistic creative things that Annie's got on the list. There's probably money out there for that, and who knows what else, but we need to come up, I think, with kind of a wish list, and then have a conversation with Sonic, and then find out more.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave, for sharing that information, and you too, Leanne, for bringing it up.
So does somebody want to take on the, reaching out to her to find out what we need to provide to her? To Sonic?
I can make a phone call, but as I said, I'm not, when it comes to grants, my knowledge is limited, but I can make a phone call. Dave, do we have a contact through town, or am I just looking for her at Sonic?
No, there's a contact through town, but I'm sure if you got through Sonic itself, just mention who you are and related to, and that would work too.
And it's.
You might want to go through the town manager's office just to
Okay.
be official in terms of finding out information.
Keith always loves when I call.
Well, you don't have to talk to him.
Well, I
Okay.
think if we just reach out saying that, we're looking for guidance on how we go forward and
Okay.
maybe find more information on it. That would
Right.
I can do that. I can't guarantee what I can do beyond that, but I can do that.
No, but
We're
if you put that information forward, we're one step closer. It's, we know that there's somebody out there for grants, and if they can help us with rules of engagement, that would be great.
Yeah, we're just exploring the waters.
Right.
Okay, anything else for fund development? No, all right. Next on the agenda is nominations with Maureen.
No report.
Thank you. And then communications with Lisa Jones. I know Lisa is out this evening, a little bit unexpectedly. She did send out the director's evaluation report, so if you can look to that. And she also sent out a lot of ideas for publicizing the race. And I don't know how people feel about some of those ideas. I would ask that you take a look at them. If there's anything that people want to publicize or go forward with, the race is just a couple months away, so we would need to start acting on things and setting stuff up. And I think you said that the Newington town band would not be available. Is there anybody on this call who was not on the race call earlier today? I don't want to rehash things.
Me, but that's okay.
Okay. So let's think about what else or how else we might want to publicize the race. Certainly,
And dress it up for the anniversary year. I mean, that's what,
Right.
doing something outside of the norm.
right, to try to emphasize the anniversary year. Okay, and then that leads us right into the 5K road challenge. As we talked about that a little bit earlier today. Does anybody have any questions or anything from that meeting? No?
I
Leanne?
would like to make a motion that we consider the Avery promotion of the specialized logo on the bottle, and that we give out 250 to the first, or a bottle of the soda. I would also include that we keep it kind of a generic flavor, so we're not making our own. Why reinvent the wheel? Their sodas are good, but it would be a nice commemorative thing for people to take away. It does, I believe Maureen said it was about $250 for 200 of them.
Well, it's $1.25 a bottle with our personalized logo.
Well, my motion is that we consider doing this as a promotion item to hand out at the race.
And I'd like to amend that to do it at the same number as the first 250 free t-shirts. I think it would be, we should match it up.
Right, and that brings it up to like 313 or something like that.
Okay,
So the amendment,
second.
let's make it easier on Elizabeth here. So the motion is to approve the expenditures for 250 bottles of Avery soda with the specialized 5K 25th anniversary logo on it.
yes. So
Okay.
moved, Leanne.
Maureen, second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing no one opposed, the motion goes forward unanimously. Thank you. Thank you for remembering that, Leanne. Okay, anything else?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Chris.
Christie.
Hi. Sorry. I spaced past my communication information. Sorry. The lanyards have been ordered and should be here this week. So I reported that to Lisa, and we had discussions about what to get and how to get it and everything. So the volunteers will have a royal blue color lanyard with white, and the staff will have a white lanyard with green lettering, and the board will have a green lanyard with white lettering. So those will be coming any day now. And I spent $471 and some change out of the $750. And Lisa and I discussed, since I have money left over, to open up the tablecloth issue, perhaps getting 2 tablecloths with printed logo or whatever on it, and then getting maybe, I don't know, I could look into it, oversized tablecloths to fit maybe 10, 15 tables. They are much cheaper. You don't have to get the logos. You don't have to get the skirts. You just get oversized tablecloths. So if that is something people would like me to look into, I will do that, and then bring that forward. That was just something that Lisa Jones and I discussed.
I think they look very nice. Last year, we just had the tables there and they were naked, and we were
Right.
passing out the t-shirts and everything. It makes it look much more professional.
Right.
We're talking about reusable tablecloths, yes? That's
Yes.
what Anne-
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most libraries have them and use them. And
Right,
if you go to a fair or something like that, you can set up your table, yeah?
Leanne?
Lisa,
Right.
how many do we have?
How many tables?
No,
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 I think,
we have some tablecloths.
I think we have 4 of them, Leanne,
Oh, only 4?
4 or
Okay.
5. I know we have 4, but I thought we had 5.
But don't they say Friends of the Library on them?
No, no.
No?
Some that say just library, but I think we have 4 that might say library.
So I think we should have some more, made up or done, because I think it is a good idea to have tables that are covered so that it brings across the library, just mentions it more and more. I mean, even for the race or for anything else. And I know last time when it was brought up, I was thinking of something that was fitted to the tables, but I've rethought that because they could blow in the wind. I mean, that's really nice if you're in an indoor event, but when you're outdoors, you need something that can move freely in the wind. I won't mention the fence that was in front of the library at one point. So we don't want the tables to get blown over if the cloths are not moving freely. So I like the idea of a tablecloth, and some more with logos I think would be good. So I'm in favor of Christine spending some time to look at some alternatives.
The only problem with the local ones are they're a lot more expensive. So that's why I was saying
Just
to
the
get-
tablecloth.
just to have a few more with the logo or whatever the ones are that, whatever they say already, and then get the remainder plain. So you could intersperse, on the tables, have every other
good
one or
idea.
every third one or something like that.
I like that idea.
Sounds good. I will say, from having worked the food tables for several years during the race, I still suggest no tablecloths on the food tables, simply because of all the food residue.
Mhm.
If they're cloths, sometimes it's not so much bringing them home and washing them, it's the fruit juice stains and things like that I don't want us to
Cream
invest
cheese,
in
yeah.
something. So I would suggest with the food, we don't do it, but I do like the idea of it being covered elsewhere.
Or you could actually cover the top with like those, you get them at Dollar Tree or whatever, the plastic tablecloths, just to cover the very top,
Well, yeah.
to keep away. And then, the tablecloth is still on there, but
That's
it's
a good
not
idea.
That's a
damaged,
good idea.
you know?
Thank you, Christine. I'd appreciate it if you move forward with that.
Okay.
Anyone else?
we had talked about the balloons. This is Pauline.
Mhm.
I like the idea. I'm not sure whether or not it would be at, when you start the race, or as people are walking up the driveway, when they're registering or
Mazzacoli.
checking in.
Yeah, Mazzacoli Way.
Yeah. I don't mind the idea, because that gives a little bit more celebration. We're not going to go do the cake because that was discussed. We have enough food, but if we do a little bit more,
And kids love
Party-
balloons.
yeah,
The thought was that it would be a balloon arch.
yeah,
So I think we need pricing on that, but I think we also need to know, I know that the roads are closed down for the race, so we might be able to get away with putting a balloon arch up there. But when can we put it up? Where would we put it? I think the photo opportunities are at the start, or maybe even at, Mazzacoli Way there.
yeah.
And if it wasn't going to be an arch, maybe it would be many clusters of balloons, along, that we could put along the road or something, instead of arching over the road, if that were not allowed for some reason.
Well, Kevin mentioned, this is Anna again, Kevin mentioned that there is, when the runners come in, they cross a finish, they go across a finish mat where the timer is set up to, track each runner. There's a clock there. And that's where we would need to have it. I mean, I think that,
Well, I think there are not a lot of photos that go there. Everybody takes a photo at the start of the race, it seems to me. The balloons at the end, I don't know, if we're going to spend the money, we would want the pictures and the publicity for it. And I don't know, is a balloon arch over the finish?
I can tell you that last year, the timer did a video of the entire finish and posted it online. I found it. And if you go to the race webpage, you can view it. And it's all the runners coming through. So if they, if they ran it and they froze it, they would get their picture with the balloon in the balloon arch. But, doesn't really matter to me. I'm not going to be there.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is a point and a big reminder that, I had mentioned at the race meeting, but Anna will be away this year and it'll be the first race we've done without her.
Not
making
true,
sure
not true.
That we go through our checklist
Yeah,
in quite a few years.
I've missed a race or two in the past.
In quite a few years.
So Anna, Diane, the only thing I would like to add is that if you do this, you are going to have people there early because someone's going to have to put all of that together. And the race people don't usually get there at 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever. They
Right.
get there 7:30. So I'm just saying that, something like that's going to take time possibly to set up. And that's just something to keep in mind as well.
Well, and maybe it's not even a balloon arch. Maybe it's an inflatable. They have inflatables that cover those areas, and
It's still, an inflatable has to be inflated. So here's my my challenge. If you'd like to go forward with this, I need to know that you would be supportive of, getting the balloons, getting it installed, being there early, having it up. Right?
Well, I think part of the discovery is, do the people who create this arch do the installation?
Yeah.
Whether it's a balloon or the inflatable.
Let's just explore the idea and find out what's out there. I mean, we're talking blind right now.
So who's going to explore the idea?
Pauline, are you willing to do it?
Yep, I think so. I will find out about balloons.
Thank you, Pauline.
Balloons and inflatables.
Yep.
Thank you, Pauline.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else from the race that needs to be acted on as the board?
Well, oh God, Mike. Okay. This is Chris. With my discussion with Lisa Jones, we talked about, we want to make this celebratory, right, for the 25th. And part of it is to bring the community in and have more involvement. So sending flyers or information to different organizations that are in the chamber are one of the things that we discussed. We feel that's very important. And also like things to entertain the kids that are there, that are just kind of hovering around, like the face painting or games or things like that. Because if you want to bring more people in, you're going to have to, and if they come with their like 5 little kids or whatever, the kids are going to be like, what do we do? And something to keep them entertained. And it's not a face painter to have 1 or 2 people there doing that. It's not expensive. So, it might cost $100 to have 2 people there for a couple hours. But something like that. If you want to get people involved and ramp them up to give money and to jump on board for a renovation, you have to do something that stimulates them. If you want to just keep doing the same old, it's not going to happen. So go ahead.
Just coming back to what you're saying, thinking about other events, and I don't know where things are in the world right now with COVID. All my contacts, who knows if things were still in place. But with
Right.
Waterfall Festival, one of the things that we did, which was relatively cost effective and it was a big hit, was the Girl Scouts worked with us and they did face painting
Mm-hmm.
for the kids who were attending.
Yep.
It might behoove us, instead of hiring a professional, to reach out to a youth group in town,
Yep.
whether it's church or scouting or whatever, if they want to set up in the parking lot and do this. and we pay for their materials or something, or make a
That
donation.
also-
to their thing.
Leanne, and I was thinking perhaps some of the high school kids that volunteer.
Well, that's what happens at the Girl Scouts tent when they get overloaded, because they also do games and crafts and things like
Yeah.
that. The kids help them, and they all want to work in that tent versus someplace else. They don't
Cleaning
want
up.
to collect garbage. They want to go,
Yeah.
they want to go face paint. So, I mean, it would be a place for our volunteers as well.
Right.
But that might be something to consider, even if we reach out to the, as part of our volunteer group, maybe reach out to Key Club or Honor Society
Yes.
and say, okay, Key Club, will you help us with the road race, and Honor Society, will you do face painting for us, or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Again, scouting is difficult because I know a lot of these troops have not even begun meeting again. So
Right.
I don't know what the contacts are.
Right.
So what time of day do you see this happening? Is it happening during pre-registration, the actual race? When
If
is
they
this
were to
happening?
set up, say, in the back parking lot by where the Friends trailer on that side of the parking lot,
Mhm.
if they were to set up there, they're out of basically the traffic pattern, but they're still part of the event. Or you put them out by where I think it would be too loud, but maybe out by the, what do you call it? The sundial. So they're not but they're part of it, but they're not, because you have to set up tables and they have to have water and that kind of stuff. So,
who are you trying to attract? My concern is you're getting away from, I mean, the race honestly goes from 9 until 10:30. And you can't, if you do something in the upper parking lot there, you're impacting parking.
That's true.
And I'm not really sure who you're trying to attract, because I thought we were trying to get runners there with their families. And a lot of the kids who come are there to watch family members who are running in the race.
Or run themselves.
Right. And so I'm not sure, I mean, are we trying to attract people that aren't going to be part of the race? And then you have, then you have to think about food and water, because they're going to start coming up to all that as well. I mean, I don't mind doing extra. My concern is that, face painting, you can have lines, and, I don't know. I don't know who you're trying to reach for that. Because are you trying to reach the people that are coming to watch the runners, or are you trying to reach other people to come to the event?
Well, I would think it's the people that bring their kids there.
But the kids have to be monitored by the parents, and one parent most likely is running. I don't know. I mean,
They're usually watching their family member race. That's the thing.
the only downtime you really seem to have is like right after the race until the awards start. But I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know if you'd have enough time to get that many kids' faces painted, or I'm just saying, it's such a short amount of time. And the
Right.
runners, like,
That's
they
true.
come to the race, they wait for the prizes, and then they're gone.
Right.
Okay, so basically, I guess we were under the impression this was an opportunity to showcase the expansion and get people to buy in a little bit, and to give them, to make it's the 25th anniversary and it's supposed to be a big deal. If you don't want to do that, it's a waste of our time to look into those things.
No, I didn't say that, Chris. I didn't say that. I'm just saying that we don't have a children's race, so it's not intended for that audience right now. That's what I'm just trying to say, is that
Here's a thought. I wonder if we joined with the Friends and offered to do face painting at one of the big book sales.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's still a library event. It's still what's all about the library. They can come and go as they wish. I don't know, Sheila, I'm just working off the top of my head here, but You know, or even when they had the outdoor sales and stuff, then I don't know how many kids come to the book sales to do that, but you know, they could come, they could get some books, they could have a free face painting, and that might help bring more business into the Friends who pay for the programs. It's, you know, it is advertising the library all in itself. I mean, we all, you know, I think town council, the Friends, and the Board of Trustees make fine lines between the three organizations, right? Is it staff? Is it a trustee? Is it a friend? But the world at large, the community at large, think it's the library. So if we were to try to drum up support or have something, you know, information to give out and stuff, the Friends and the trustees have always worked together to do stuff like that. Maybe we want to do something like that. And it's like, hey, you know, buy a book bag and have free face painting. It doesn't have to have an age limit. Maybe I want to go around with a tiger face on someday. I don't know. But, you know, just that whole thought.
Good thought.
You know, the race just may not be the right venue, hearing, you know, some of this feedback and thinking of what's there, because a lot of the children are racing anyways. It's the very, very young that the ones that are not young enough to be in a stroller and pushed, and not quite old enough yet to run. But, you know, 5 years old and up run.
Right. All right. Well, I'll bring it all back to Lisa.
Yeah, maybe
she's been putting a lot of effort
and say, yes. And I like the idea of advertising it and you know, having the library thought of as fun.
Yep. Okay.
Part of that community promotion that we were talking about too during the meeting, and I'm beginning to, the lines are blurring, so forgive me if I'm repeating what was said in this meeting. We were going to contact Human Services about encouraging people to bring food for the food bank that day. That wouldn't be that labor intensive, but it would also be a place we could potentially use the volunteer help.
Right. And I think that is easy enough to do, right? Somebody will bring something and drop it off and you know, that's it. It helps the town. It's more of a community event. Okay. All right. Anything else on the race? No. All right. Next up is open board positions. We do still have some open positions. I believe we have a corporate position, and I think Republican, right? Have I lost track of that, or is it Democratic? No, Pam's position was a Democratic position. So if you know of anybody who is interested or moving forward from that end, please bring their names forward, or anyone that they can talk to, other board members, myself, Karen or Lisa on staff. Be appreciated.
So is it a Republican position or is
Yes,
it a?
it's a Republican.
Thank
It's
you.
Republican. We have all our thumbs. Okay, thank you. It's Republican.
Almost.
Dave? I see your hand
It's
raised.
brought up at every Republican town committee meeting. And a list has been given to counselors of open positions as the time it was made for the library, as well as everything else. Everyone's been given a list printed out showing what is filled and what isn't filled. If that, how that helps, and if it helps, at least you know we're trying different ways of getting people on board to volunteer to be on various different boards and commissions.
Great, thanks, Dave. Anyone else have a comment? No? All right. Next up. New business. Did we have anything under new business?
Please don't.
No, we didn't, Diane.
Okay, thanks. Well, at this point then, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So
Sorry,
moved.
public participation. Do we have any public on the call? Dave, your hand is raised again. You're on mute.
Sorry, so you can hear me. Just like to mention, which I didn't mention earlier, that the facilities document, which I said will include the appropriate information for the library, was gone under under new business, which means it may come up under old business next time and be voted on. And then, of course, people have to be assigned to it. So the Central Facilities Committee may be coming forward sooner rather than later.
Is there a public hearing on that, Dave?
Gee, offhand, I don't know at the moment. I can't say whether there is or not.
I just didn't know under what the protocol is, whether there has to be a public hearing before it's considered for.
I've
final.
forgotten at the moment. Probably there is, but I've forgotten at the moment, to tell you the truth.
Okay, well.
Thank you. Okay, and there's no public on the call, Lisa or Karen?
No, there is not.
Okay, then I would once again start with looking for a motion of adjournment.
So move.
Thank you, Laurel. May I have a second?
Maureen, second.
Thank you, Maureen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Appreciate your time.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care all.